Hey everyone, today I'm going to be doing a video involving this RORGear PC9 carbine. Those of you who've been following my social media channels probably know that I've been testing one of these. I've already got several hundred rounds through it, probably close to 500 rounds through it so far in its factory configuration as you see here. However, there are some drawbacks that I've already been finding with it, and hopefully what I'll be doing today will get rid of some of those drawbacks. So what I have today is some parts from Midwest Industries, specifically their handguard, extended charging handle, and a QD plate for the buttstock back here, so you can attach a QD sling. I don't want to say too much about my thoughts on this rifle as a whole currently, but there's definitely some room for improvement. And hopefully with this Midwest Industries stuff, we will get there. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is start with the handguard, and then we'll move on to the charging handle, and then we'll move on to the QD plate for the stock and get all these parts installed and assembled. And then I'll be able to continue my testing, and you'll see what I think about all those together with a rifle once I do a review of this RORGear PC9 carbine. So let's go ahead and get to the install. So now we got my little workbench here set up, and I have the instructions in front of me. One of the things that I appreciate about Midwest Industries stuff in general is they're really good about providing clear instructions on how to install this. So this should be a fairly straightforward install process. So first step is going to be locking the bolt to the rear. If you are not familiar with your RORGear PC9 carbines, operates very similarly in this respect to the RORGear 1022. So there's a little lever right here aft of the magazine well and in front of the trigger guard. You press up on that while pulling the bolt to the rear, and you can lock the bolt open. Now we're going to flip it upside down, and we're going to locate this little fastener right here, and they do include the Allen wrench you're going to need to loosen that fastener, and that is going to help us remove this front handguard. So we're going to loosen it, but not entirely remove that fastener from, let's see, use the short end here. Remove this from this forearm, because we're not going to be reusing this specific fastener. Midwest Industries is going to give us a different one to use. Okay, so now that we got this all the way loosened off, we're just going to lift this whole handguard off. That's only held in place by that one fastener. So now what we're going to go ahead and do is align this handguard with the existing takedown lever there. And the nice thing is you don't have to do anything crazy with your front end. It should just slide over the top, because it does have cutouts for your rear sight base back here on the barrel, as well as the little takedown lever here in the front. So once we have this aligned, we're going to take the provided screw, which is in its own little sealed up bag here, if I can get it out. We're going to drop that into the corresponding slot on the handguard. And then we're going to go ahead and tighten this thing down. Now, this is not something you're going to want to put thread locker on or anything crazy like that, but we are going to torque it down to 55 inch-pounds. If you have a torque wrench, I would recommend using it. If not, you definitely don't want to over torque this puppy. Completely unnecessary in this case. That's really it. All we had to do was pop out that screw on the factory handguard, slide this handguard on over the front, and now, since we had the bolt locked open, we should be able to press forward on our little takedown lever and still take this puppy apart. So you are losing zero functionality, all while actually gaining a significant amount of functionality. And we'll go ahead and slide this back in place. And again, we're nice and solid, nice and steady. Now we have immensely more mounting options compared to just the single little 1913 section here on the front of the factory handguard. We got as much as your heart can desire, including built-in QD slots back here or on both sides, and we're still able to take this thing down. So this does also come with one 1913 slot if you have accessories you want to attach that way. Otherwise, this is M-LOK compatible in all these different sections so that you can attach things wherever and whenever you want to. So now that we have the handguard in place, we're going to go ahead and work on the charging handle back here. Now, as I understand it, you can do it either with the barrel and handguard installed or have it uninstalled, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it with it installed, or at least we're going to try here. Now, the same Allen wrench that was used for this front takedown pin can be used for this charging handle. Ruger should also have provided you with one in the box, but we're just going to stick it down inside this charging handle and see if we can't break the torque on this thing. I had it torqued down pretty snug, so that's, I guess, good on Ruger for that. We're just going to remove that, and we're going to keep our little fastener here. And we're just going to take our knurled charging handle from the package, and I'm going to keep it on the right side just because that's how my brother had it set up, and you know, I don't want to mess with his groove too much. Also, for those of you familiar with like running AK-47s or a lot of other firearms out there, right side charging is pretty common, so I might as well keep all my muscle memory all on the same side if I can help it. Just gonna tighten this thing all the way down. All right, and we are nice and torqued on there. So now, quick function check, make sure that works. Lock the bolt open, cycle it that way, and just for grins and gigs, since I have a magazine here, make sure everything still works properly as far as last shot hold open, pull the magazine out, and that's gonna work very nicely for us. And that's all you need to do for the charging handle. So let's move on to the QD plate for the back of the stock here. So now that we've got the charging handle in, to get this end plate installed, what I'm going to go ahead and do is just lock this thing open and take the handguard off, just to make this thing a little bit easier to work with. And then we're going to take a 9/64 Allen screw. Should have come in your kit with your rifle, but if not, that's the size you need. And we're just going to loosen these fasteners under the recoil pad. Now these ones you definitely don't want to lose, because these are the same ones we're going to be using when we reinstall it back on. All right, so as you can see, these fasteners are pretty long. Again, we're going to want to make sure we save those. So once you have the recoil pad off, if you have added some sections to it, you might want to take those out just so that your length of pull is going to be as similar as possible with this extra piece installed. But since we don't have any of those really extra ones here, I'm just going to go ahead and slap this puppy on and then place the recoil pad back into its place and then get them fastened back down. And again, this could take a while depending on how many spacers you have in place. All right, so now that we have that butt plate back in place, we are now good to go. And now we have a QD slot on both the left and right side, or vice versa in this case, of the firearm. So if you have a 2-point sling or even a single point sling you want to mount back here, you can now do that. So with not too much time and all the tools more or less being provided either by Ruger or by Midwest Industries, now we have a nice little 9mm carbine package that is far more functional than how it started. So let's go ahead and recap and wrap up. We've Midwest Industries all the things. We got this M-LOK handguard up here, which is going to allow you a lot more versatility if you want to put a vertical grip, if you want to put a light, if you want to put a D-ball, if you're going to go full crazy with it. You can do all that now with this handguard. We now have a bigger knurled handguard, which is going to make it a lot more positive to actually use this thing. And again, you can mount it to either side, just like the factory one. And now we have a QD end plate back here in the stock, so we can actually use this with a 2-point sling, single point sling, however you want to do it. I personally am a big fan of 2-point slings, but again, now this thing, we've lost zero functionality, but we've added a ton of options now, and really not added much, if anything, in regards to weight, because these Midwest Industries handguards are nice and lightweight. Now, if you want to get any of these items you've seen here today, or even anything from Midwest Industries for that matter, I do have a coupon code that'll get you a significant discount, and I'll have that here at the bottom of the screen. I don't get any kickbacks from them. However, they do provide me parts for free to do install videos and reviews, so just so you know about that. But I have yet to be disappointed by any of their stuff. Opinions yet to be made about this because I actually haven't shot with this on here yet, but given my experience with everything else from Midwest Industries, I think it's gonna be pretty positive. And I might even try to get one of those 50 round Glock drums because this handguard makes it a little bit more PPSH-esque, if you guys know what I'm talking about. So again, just a big aesthetic improvement in my opinion, and an enormous leap forward in regards to functionality and usability in my opinion. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, go ahead and throw those in the comment section down below. If you want to see my review of all this stuff, definitely subscribe to my channel so you guys can stay up to date on the reviews as they come out, which again will include this carbine here, as well as dedicated reviews on the Midwest Industries stuff attached to it. If you are interested, I do have a Patreon account. All my videos get posted early to Patreon. We do live streams every month. I have a Discord server set up so people can communicate directly with me on a much quicker basis than through Patreon or any other social media platform for that matter. We have a bunch of other perks, but I'll let you check that out if you feel so inclined. But anyway, with all that said, as always, I hope you're able to get something out of this video, and I really appreciate you watching.